Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. We'll be talking here tonight about SMEs, entrepreneurship and startups, their importance here in Egypt, their importance for job creation, for economic growth, for the youth, how Egypt is really encouraging startups and entrepreneurship and SMEs, and encouraging the youth to take that path, SMEs being the backbone of economies in many countries across the world. We'll also be talking about the challenges facing the SMEs and startups, and of course the great opportunity that Egypt, with its great geographic location and demographics, present to the world of SMEs, startups and entrepreneurship. And we have the great pleasure of being accompanied by Dr. Zeinab Nawar, Professor of Economics. Thank you very much, Dr. Zeinab. Happy Eid.
Thank you so much.
Happy to have you with us. We'll be starting the discussion with Dr. Zeinab, dear viewers, right after watching this special report. Please stay with us.
Small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, are the engines of global economic growth and employment, accounting for an average 33% of GDP and 45% of the workforce in high-income countries, and over 60% of GDP and 70% of employment in developing economies. In the case of the latter, the rise in the number of SMEs has been crucial to economic diversification and resilience, particularly in countries vulnerable to commodity price fluctuations. By creating employment opportunities for traditionally economically marginalized groups such as women, migrants, youth, and minorities, SMEs have also been credited with democratizing the labor market and driving more inclusive economic growth. In recent years, SMEs have also been at the crest of innovation, taking advantage of their smaller size and agility relative to larger firms to respond more rapidly to technological or commercial opportunities in areas such as biotech and renewable energy. However, SMEs still face numerous obstacles which often limit their scope for growth and undermine their long-term sustainability, from a disproportionately high tax burden to skills gaps in credit and trade barriers. Minister of Trade and Industry Naveen Gama have stated that since 2014, a total of 40 billion pounds have been disbursed to 1.6 million businesses through the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency. Gama noted that those entities created 2.5 million jobs and were issued 216 final and temporary licenses, 57,000 taxation certificates, and 56,000 incentive certificates. In addition, the funding programs included the training of 51,000 beneficiaries. Further, 19,000 of those competed to win governmental tenders worth more than £1 billion. What's more, the value of sales of those enterprises, founded since 2014 at 1,000 fairs organized by the MSMEDA, amounted to £500 million. As for financing offered through Decent Life initiative since its launch in 2021, the minister clarified that over 50,000 enterprises have acquired funds worth £1.46 billion, creating 98,000 jobs. The Ministry of Social Solidarity also has indicated that it had funded 320,000 micro-businesses owned by women, with £2.6 billion in the form of grants that are not paid back. Further, the Egyptian municipal authorities provided loans worth £2.2 billion to 12,400 micro-businesses in the fiscal year 2021-2022, creating 123,000 job opportunities. That is through a program dubbed Mashru'ak, or Your Project, which has funded until present 190,000 micro-businesses at £22.6 billion, securing employment for 1.4 million individuals. The ministry also noted that municipal authorities are doing their best to facilitate the issuance of licenses for handicraft complexes and shops. The ministry added that citizens at villages also get temporary jobs at the construction works carried out to introduce different utilities and facilities. That is through a program called Your Work is at Your Village. Further, rural villages are being modernized to create better work conditions.
Thank you, dear viewers, for staying with us back here with Professor of Economics, Dr. Zeinab Nawar. And to follow up, Dr. Zeinab, on the report, let me start by asking you, how do you see the Egyptian leadership and government's efforts in encouraging startups, entrepreneurship, especially for the youth and SMEs?
Yes, we'll start by saying what the government is trying to provide for the startups and for the youth, and also to encouraging this sector of the small and medium enterprises. We had a lot of initiatives recently, starting from the initiative that we had saw at the report on the local level, maybe in the initiative of Decent Life, and also several governmental entities are trying to support the startups and to start the youth and to encourage them to start their own projects. So we have a lot of initiatives, and all of these initiatives are so encouraging to the youth who are going to start their own project, and also a lot of information to be provided to them, which is very good effort, and also a lot of facilities in terms of financing the ideas, financing the projects, if they would need any technical advice, so they can easily get this technical advice and this technical support. So all of these initiatives, all of these efforts are excellent efforts on the ground, and also these efforts came at the time of, once again, that we have this crisis of the war, Russia, war between Russia and Ukraine, and also we should be in the time of the Corona recovery, but unfortunately we had this recent crisis. So all what we had done, all the government had successfully worked on, I think it will be pay off for this time of crisis.
Right, so that would lead me to ask you, Dr. Zeinab, to talk to us about the two sides of the coin. Now, there is a bright side that, you know, Egypt, with its great geographic location, with its demographics, over 60% of its population are youth. There are enthusiastic youth here who are digitally educated, well educated. At the same time, we have this, you know, global crisis, and the recovery from the corona had already been a challenge for the world, and now the Russia-Ukraine war is another big challenge for the world. So, if we take us through the two sides of the coin, the bright side and the dim side, if you will.
Unfortunately, what we are witnessing, because this is what we used to tell to our students when we used to teach them history of economics and history of civilizations. So what we are in, unfortunately, it's what we can say, it's about civilization clashes and clashes between worldwide interest and all of this. We don't know what's going to happen, but I see that although we have this bad side and this event that is not good at all, but maybe, we don't know, maybe we'll have a chance. Because I think that at the end of this, any type of civilization clashes, at the end of the day, I think no one is going to win from these forces internationally. So if I'm talking about the US, we talk about Russia, about the NATO, and all of this type of struggle between these civilizations, and also China. So maybe we have a good opportunity for us, if we are just looking for the opportunity that will come out from this type of clashes that is happening worldwide. So for the who are seeing us now, they have to understand that along the history, and if we're going back to the history, we'll see the reasons for the World War I, the reasons for the World War II. We will see at the end of the day, we have civilizations, they are growing in power, they are growing in wealth, At the end of the day, they are clashing. And this is what we are witnessing now, starting from the corona and starting from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and also the struggle about the NATO and the power and the use of the nuclear power. This is all what the world is working now.
True.
So maybe
what you're telling us here is that in the midst of every crisis,
yes,
there is opportunity. There is an opportunity.
Maybe we are now, and we are one of the emerging economies, we can have a window out of this. Because a lot of people are depressed, a lot of people, they're saying, yeah, we have a crisis, we have an inflation rate, things are going worse, and things are going, no, maybe things are going worse, but there is opportunity that is coming out from this type of clashing. This is what we're talking about worldwide. So let's go back to Egypt once again. So maybe if the youth or the entrepreneurs, the Egyptian entrepreneurs, if they try to work outside the borders of Egypt, to look for the chances out there, to develop themselves, to use all the different types of tools that the Egyptian government is trying to give them, starting from the finance, starting from the advice, technical advice, financial support, digital advice. You are saying that our youth are well educated, and also they are brilliant in terms of the use of the digital tools and the digitalization of the whole of the economy. So I see, as an economist, maybe I'm just looking from a different window, that we still have for our startups and our small and medium enterprises a good chances if we truly worked hardly on ourselves here inside Egypt, and also we try to go outside and looking for the opportunities. Even if we have bad economic situations out there, the opportunity is still there, because this type of huge clashes between the different countries and different civilizations and different powers will lead to a collapse to one of them. One of them will collapse definitely, or maybe 2 or 3 of them will collapse. And history had showed us that. So we want our youth to work, we want our youth to develop themselves, to look for opportunities, and just to focus on their targets and on their goals, and to find the right opportunities. Because still, even if we talk about the European markets, we hear every day that there is a collapse here in the UK and whatever, but still there is selling, still there are markets, still people there are requiring and asking for products. So since markets are still working and since people are still demanding even in the time of the crisis, so still we have chances.
Absolutely.
So my message for this, that I'm trying to tell the youth here in Egypt, don't be depressed and say there is no chance and we have a lot of problems and economic problems. No, we still have an opportunity coming out from this clashes and from this crisis.
Right, Dr. Zeinab. So how to best promote the entrepreneurship atmosphere in Egypt? We promote it in 2 ways: promoted among the youth, and promoted, as you said, for the youth to look forward, or maybe promoted for investors to come here.
What we had done, or what we need that we need to do.
What we need to do now.
To promote for that.
Yeah.
No, we had done a lot of promotion for that, and we have also a lot of youth, they would like to start their own projects and to start their own work. But what we need to stress for the youth, not to be depressed, and try to find their own opportunities, and not to be depressed about what's happening worldwide, because this is normal. And if you read history, you will see every since and then we have an international crisis. We have every 20, 30, 40 years we have a worldwide international crisis. So this does not mean that we have to stop to produce and not to stop to work and not to stop to looking for the opportunities. This is not right. So how to promote this inside Egypt? Of course, we have a lot of initiatives that have been done throughout the government, throughout also the universities. If you talk about private or public universities, we still have a lot of initiatives that had been done, and also it need to be done more and more on the ground for the youth. Initiatives for the entrepreneurship starts also from the schools, which is very important, and I saw it in India. It's not about that you have to talk to the youth in the university or after graduation or for the postgraduate. No, you have to raise this, you have to make this one of the disciplines, one of the courses that they will take it throughout the years and they're studying at schools. So you have to work on this from very early stages. Clubs teamwork, and all of this type of skills and life types, and also life skills. All of this would also encourage for the entrepreneurship. We have to raise our children to like the teamwork, to like achievement, to deal with the challenges, to struggle, what is right and what is wrong. All of this, at the end of the day, if we want to promote for this, and if we want to promote for thoughts and ideas, we start with them at earlier age, at the earlier stages, which is very important. So a new thing that we have to focus on the ideas of entrepreneurship and this type of skills since schools. This is number one. So how to promote also outside Egypt. We need also to encourage the entrepreneurs and the startups to do like a partnership with foreign startups and foreign, of course, FDI. They're looking for a certain amount of capital, so it's not easy to do this type of partnership with them. But how to encourage our entrepreneurs and our startups to do the partnership and collaborations outside with international companies in whatever countries, in Europe, in the US, even in Africa, because they need to have this type of international exposure, and they have to know what the competition means and what the international markets needs. How they would know this if they didn't do it by practice. It's no way for them just to know what is competition and what are the market needs at the UK or at France, while here they are here in Egypt. So this is so hard. They have to go and to do this by practice. So I think we need to do this type of more initiative to encourage for this collaboration between the Egyptian startups and other startups with different nationalities. I think this would add much to our youth.
I'm really glad, Dr. Zeinab, that you stressed more than once that for the youth not to give up. I mean, it seemed to me that you believe that we are heading the right way. We did a lot of good things, but you know, external issues are derailing the progress. But you are asking, at this moment, you believe the most important thing is the psychological state of mind. Don't give up, stay focused. There is an opportunity. You know, it's not because that, you know, there are outside repercussions or negative repercussions that we should stop what we are doing or retract from what we are doing. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, because the crisis is everywhere, and even for the European countries, they are facing the crisis maybe more aggressive than what we do face it right now because of their location.
For them, for many countries, this is the worst inflation wave in 30 or 40 years. Egypt has seen many waves of inflation over the years.
Yes. It's the clashes, political clashes from the first times. It has an origin of economic clashes between all of these civilizations and powers. You know that we have something called an hegemony theory. And this is one of the US theories saying that who is going to have more powerful over the other country worldwide. So the US is struggling to be the only power. You have now many powers that is coming on the scene. You have the Russians, you have China, you have other emerging economies. So some sort of clashing is happening. So if we didn't work on our country and we struggled during this time, so when we are going to go? Are we going to go to Europe where they have they are suffering much more than we do have? Where they're going to go to the US? Where's the jobs and also with the high unemployment rate at the US? So it's a global crisis. So we have to be in our country, struggle and work and use all and different tools that the government is giving to us. Otherwise, we are just wasting opportunities, because if we left our country now, there are no opportunity out there. There's no opportunity out there. Because all of the international community are engaged in a political struggle. And part of their political struggle, I'm talking about the Europe, I'm talking about the US, part of their political struggle, again, is the other powers, China and Russia and whatever. It has an economic effect and all of this, and we don't know when this is going to stop. The powers, they know when they're going to stop that, when they achieve their own interest. But for us as emerging economies, we have to work and we have to focus and we have to use the opportunity.
Now, you mentioned earlier that you believe that we should start by teaching school students the importance of entrepreneurship and so on. So, how best to convince youth, indeed? I mean, are youth already convinced? Are most youth already convinced that entrepreneurship is a good career choice? And if not, would starting this from school, as you said, really help in that regard? They have to understand that it's a good career choice. It's not the only one.
Other choices can be.
There are many other
there.
choices, but this is a good one as well. Right. So are most youth already there?
Yes, from what I see from the British University and some of our students, yes, they are ready and convinced. But if you're going to talk about the Egyptian youth, you have to think about other public universities and other private universities. So how we can sense that. So if you would like to encourage and also to give a great push for that, start from schools and start from giving our sons at schools the main skills and the main driving skills to start their own project. So by this, you guarantee that after they graduate from whatever university, whatever finishing their high school, so they are in a way or another convinced at a certain stage to do that. So once you just give them the basic skills for that, try to encourage them, try to give them the basic skills of teamwork, how to deal with the challenges, how to be a positive thinker, how to deal with the private and to lead a business. We used to have, this is one of the courses, we used to have it at schools in some time, I think years ago. We used to have it in my school. We used to have it. It was like a puzzle course about business, how business, also our students at the IG and also at the American diploma, I think, they are getting business and also economics courses, but we want to give them entrepreneurship courses, and also our sons at the, we talk about the public schools, how to work on this type of material and syllabus, and even to put it for our sons at the public, sons and daughters, of course, in the public schools. So by this, we are maybe in a sense or another, we guarantee that yes, maybe we have given them the enough skills that will make them choose if you are going to continue this throughout the university and throughout the postgraduate and even for the several initiatives. It is it's part of skills. They have to get it along their lives, along their different activities they used to do. And then at the end of the day, you will create an entrepreneur. If you have an entrepreneur, and then you give them a lot of support and a lot of encouragement once again, try to explain to them what's happening worldwide and what's going on worldwide and what should be done. Also, it's very important for the Egyptian businessmen to go and to talk with the youth also. This is one of the rules that I think it's very important for the businessmen here in Egypt to go and to talk with the youth about how they started, how they struggled, how they started the work, from what age, what was the challenges, how they dealt with the challenges. So all of these models, if we just give it to our students and also try to teach our students how to deal with this, I think this will be fair enough to be, or a guarantee at a certain percentage that we are encouraging them on this direction.
Indeed, Dr. Zeinab. So I want to talk about ICT a little bit, information, of course, and communication technology. And as Egypt is in the transformation process towards full digitalization, so how is the state incubating ICT and encouraging SMEs, startups, and entrepreneurship, especially in ICT-linked businesses?
Yes, what you just said is very important, the ICT sector and the digitalization of the economy. Because if you didn't work on being a digital economy, you will not be able to compete. You will not even be there on the international map. So working on this type of progress of digital economy, moving into the use of the highest and the latest techniques of of whatever types of technology. This is a must, and a must. It's not about the initiative that you're doing for our students or your initiative that you do for the startups. It has to be done for the industrial sector.
Yeah.
And you have to attract more of foreign direct investors coming to invest using the latest technology. Because once you bring investors with the latest technology, this will enforce you to use and to adopt as a government the latest techniques and the latest digital systems. Still, we cannot say that we are, as an economy, we are just working, the whole economy working in digitalization. This is right, but when you look for Japan, for China, for the Asian countries, for the European countries, every day and every moment there is a new thing about the digital economy and moving into a digital market. So you have to adapt with all of this on every second and every minute basis. So we cannot say that, yes, we had made an effort for the ICT. We have the Ministry of Telecommunication, and we have also all of these digital platforms that we have, and all of the payments and all of the systems and all of this. This is fine, but this is not enough because we are competing with what we can say a fierce competition in the digital economy and in moving into new platforms for production and for education. How we are going to adopt and maintain and deal with this is a big challenge. I think this is one of the biggest challenges that we are facing as an Egyptian economy, is to deal with huge transformations worldwide. So I think we still need to do a lot for this sector, for the ICT.
Right. Now, Dr. Zeinab, to foster creativity and encourage innovation, the central bank, for instance, has backed a number of programs with the aim of supporting startups and small and medium enterprises operating in the manufacturing, agricultural, and digital transformation sectors. Talk to us please, about the role of the CBE, the Central Bank of Egypt, in supporting that direction, and also about the fact that this is not, SMEs or startups are not focused on one sector. I mean, there's the agricultural sector, the industrial sector, the ICT sector we talked about. So, and surely the plans must differ. And the skills of the entrepreneurs must differ from one sector to another. So could you walk us through this, please?
Yes. Of course, the central bank started the new initiative. We know that about the financial inclusion and supporting financially these startups and these small and medium scale enterprises by giving them loans at a lower interest rate, and this was a great effort that had been done from the central bank at that time. So of course, if we talk about startups, we have startups in every and different economic sector. In ICT, there are different needs. In the industrial sector, even inside the industrial, it depends on the industry itself. They have different types of needs.
Right.
In the agricultural sector, you have different types of needs depending on the type of the agricultural sector that the startup or the SME will be working on. So we are dealing with a lot of varieties, a lot of needs, and this is why I'm telling you we still in a deadly need for a lot of technical advice for all of these, because we have a lot of multi and variety of things that we need to transform to all of these startups and small and medium enterprises in these different sectors. So in agricultural sector, so I think that the small and medium enterprise in this sector is dealing with, it depends what is the type of the economic activity that the startup is going to do, whether something related to the environment, whether something related to the agricultural manufacturing itself. So they're working on farming, for example, or they're working on the industrial things over whatever the agricultural products, like to do more work like packing or more industrial work on agricultural product. This is also another type with a different skills. Going back again, if you talk about purely industrial sector, so whether you talk about textile sector, for example, or you're talking about leather sector, A lot. But what you can do is to give them the base skills for all of them. And then let every one of these entrepreneurs to work on his own, and there should be some sort of effort they would do. You just give them the basic guidelines and the important guidelines, and then full stop, because there are a lot of tasks they have to do it by themselves. How you are going to support them for this, a lot of tasks that you'll not be able to give it to them once, through financing, through training for different sectors. And this is one of the rules that some of the unions and some of the Egyptian institutions, also in governmental institutions, are trying to give to some different economic sectors. Even for the exportation, you have what we can say that is, for example, a council for textile exportation. This is also one of the important rules for this council, is to give training for those who would like to export textiles outside Egypt to Europe, for example. So maybe I think moving from this macro level going into more micro level and more specialization would be good for each sector. But once again, if we want to give them a macro skills, it's the basic skills, and then let everyone do his job.
Right, Dr. Zeinab, and since you mentioned the role of some institutions in supporting the youth in that direction, we have the General Authority for Investment and Free Zones that, for instance, provided integrated support packages to small investors at all phases of projects development, again, to maximize opportunities for global competition.
This is for the companies inside the free zone themselves. The free zone, the General Authority for the free zone is providing this type of technical support for those companies inside the free zone itself. Because you have, for the free zones companies, you have different characteristics and different laws and also different facilities than other
and different incentives
than other sectors out there. So in the free zones they have this type of free, I think, customs duties and also free taxation if you'd like to import the raw material from out there, on one condition, that you are going to import the material and do the manufacturing inside Egypt and then doing the exportation once again.
So the homework has been done when it comes to legislation, for instance. I mean, we've made the laws
for the free zones, and you have a lot of successful companies and successful manufacturing agents inside these free zones are exporting out there, and they are having good brands also coming from the free zones and very successful experience, and they have a good and what I can say, a very good accumulation of reputation and also experience. They can also, we can also encourage them to give their reputation to our youth who are going to start their own project outside the free zone. Because for the free zone, there are certain requirements you have to abide. The free zones, I think for the free zones, for you to start a project and to finance it on a decent level, you have to be on the medium level. So maybe we can just get this accumulation of experience and accumulation of success and bring it once again to our youth out there who are not able to meet the requirements of the free zones.
It caught my attention, Dr. Zeinab, that you are focusing on the importance of exports and exporting, and this is good for the economy, of course. So how do we link the general plan of the government to move towards localizing products, if we can, localizing the industry as much as we can, so as to, you know, not depend so much on imports, and that would of course help us with exports if we have good competitive products here at home. How do we do this with the encouragement of SMEs and startups and entrepreneurship? How can they work together?
This exercise is working right now.
Already.
I mean that the localization of the industries and also in conjunction with the small and medium enterprises. But this is not maybe one of the challenges that the small and medium enterprises is facing still, the lack of experience. And this is why I'm telling you the accumulation of experience, because in business, away from economics, in business, to be a businessman and to be someone who are fully aware about what's going on out there,
or
it's an accumulation, businesswoman, it's an accumulation of experience. And this is why I'm telling you, we can bring this businessman or businesswoman to talk with our youth about their experiences, because what we are lacking right now is the proper knowledge, not the proper knowledge, and also how to link and how to talk and how to bring these bridges of experience and knowledge from those who are having this type of knowledge and accumulation of experience and accumulation of knowledge into our youth. So this is number one, is to bring more accumulation of knowledges and more of information to our youth. This is what we do need, number one. And we need to talk and talk and talk once again. Even if we've finished that, we are finished with what we are talking about, we have to repeat also what we are saying.
The message again.
It's not an easy task, and it's not an easy experience. The thing also, the other challenge that we are facing, it's about how to go out there. This is the challenge number two, and this is why it's very important for our youth and to encourage our youth and startup to do this type of partnership out there. Why? We want them to try to move out there and to see physically.
The opportunities are
yes, they are linked
there.
with them throughout the social media, and they know what's going on out there. Also, the digitalization and all these types of digital marketing is supporting all of these efforts. But once again, what I see that to feel the market, to understand the mentality, to understand even the behavior, you have to go there and you have to understand what
You're
they're truly
encouraging the
thinking
youth
of.
to look for opportunities abroad.
Not to travel, but
I understand.
Not to migrate. I want them to travel for a small
to have a
time,
business here, to
and also,
produce something here, and to look for the opportunity of exports.
Yes, and to collaborate with the different international business, so they will understand what the other markets do need and what are the requirements. This is very important to be done. So once again, we have Stiglitz. He came to us at the American University in a day, and he said, you have to be careful that the problem of the emerging economies, it's not about money, it's about the gap in knowledge. Once again, the gap in knowledge. If we are trying to fill this gap, I think we are in the right track.
Beautifully said, Dr. Zeinab. So the private sector, I mean, not everything should be on the shoulders of the government. Where is the, is the private sector doing enough in that area, the area of encouraging the youth entrepreneurs, of educating them, of training them, of making them acquire skills, of SMEs? I mean, it's not all government. I mean, the private sector has to play maybe a bigger role. So
we had a lot of initiative also coming from the private sector and from different civil efforts from the private sector to encourage the youth. But I think it's once again the role of the government is to ask more of them to come on the ground and try to encourage our youth. This is very important, because we had a lot of brilliant businessmen and businesswomen, and nobody asked them to come and to introduce their experiences to our youth and to be in and to talk about. We need to have more models, decent models to our youth, to talk to them about struggling, about working hard, about how to work on yourself, about to start your own project. I'm sorry that we started to have other models coming into our society and our community that we are not happy with that. No, we need to bring to them our own models. We have what can I say, that we have good and excellent examples of businessmen and businesswomen here in Egypt. They struggled from the scratch. They didn't have government supported them 30, 40 years ago. We need to bring all of these examples to talk to the youth. So no, the private sector has a lot of capacity, a lot of knowledge, and we need to bring them. And they are ready to do this, but no one asked them to do that. So if we truly asked them to be in, they would be in to support the youth and also to support the country. Because this is one of the rules that they used to play.
They have been invited.
They used to play.
I mean, the government repeatedly is calling on the private sector repeatedly to play its share and to come at the table.
Bring them through different tools and channels, and give them also incentives for doing so. If they felt that they will be appreciated, they will come to you, and also they will bring their own experience for you, and this is what we need. For the private sector, they have a very important role to our community. If we are talking about a businessman or businesswoman having a certain business, employing 200, 300, 2,000, 300, 3,000 employees, they have this important economic role that you have to respect, and this is why we are encouraging our youth to start their own projects, so maybe one day they will grow and they will be bigger and big entity and big private sector like those. So they have a role, an important role, and also I think they are the main chance for us to go out from this crisis one day. If we are going to, I would like to say that we want to stop this type of effect of this international crisis on our economy. We have to start by our youth, and start by our capacity, and start by our Egyptian successful models.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
That's it, dear viewers. Unfortunately, our time is up here. On behalf of you, we thank very much Dr. Zeinab Nawar, Professor of Economics.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you with us. Happy Eid once again.
Thank you.
And dear viewers, please stay with Nile TV International. Next week, same time, is a new episode of Business Insider. I'm Mohammed Abdurrahim, and this is Goodbye.